Wednesday, May 28th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I am meteorologist Matthew East here along with you. A lot to talk about in today's video. Let's start off with a look back at the highs from yesterday. It was a warm and very muggy day all around the region. The high at 90 in Raleigh, 90 in Greenville, 87 in Charlotte, 86 in Greensboro, 70s and 80s in the North Carolina mountains. Currently it is 60s and 70s across the region at about 5:30. Early on this Wednesday morning. Dew point temperatures still way up there into the 60s in most spots, so it's still a very muggy setup across the region. So yesterday we had a pretty good coverage of these scattered thunderstorms pivot on through the region. Now today we've lost that surface trough that had been in place, and so not as much of a focusing mechanism for storms. That next cold front due in here tomorrow. But today, very warm and steamy conditions, and probably, some afternoon storms, but a little bit of a decrease in the coverage in comparison to yesterday. Now, this is what the radar looked like as we went through, say, noon to 8 o'clock in the evening yesterday. We had that pretty good coverage of scattered thunderstorms out there. A lot of them were pretty good lightning producers. Had some pockets of pretty heavy rainfall as well. In some spots, anywhere you see that green shading, that's over about an inch of rain across the region. And some sporadic wind damage reports as well, kind of scattered across the region. You can kind of pick out where the clusters of heavier storms were. Also had a hail report there in the western part of the Charlotte metro. That was near Kings Mountain, a few hailstones to $half size there. And so you can just kind of pick what happened across the region there. You can see some hail, wind, and some lightning reports, some wind damage reports across parts of the region as well, including around Burlington with some tree damage in Alamance County. Now, today, this is how we're starting off the day, some thunderstorms heading offshore, and things are pretty quiet over the interior Carolinas this morning. Now, off to the west of us, a big mass of rain and thunderstorms from Texas into Mississippi, including a severe thunderstorm warning for the western parts of the Houston metro area. And what's driving all that activity is this big upper-level low that's centered over Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. But watch what happens. It does not move our way. It kind of drifts to the south and gradually falls apart. So we have to look north to see what's heading our way, and that is a cold front that's dropping in our direction. Now out ahead of it, a few afternoon storms today, but the coverage of storms really should ramp up tomorrow as that front moves in. I think a good round of some showers and storms for our Thursday. And then we begin to see that front press further to the south. So in time, we're going to see drier air try to take over as we get deeper into the weekend. Here's just a sampling of the RPM rain totals here for the next few days. It'll be a very uneven distribution of rain depending on the track of individual showers and thunderstorms. Very warm and steamy today. Look at the 90s on the board this afternoon. But as that front approaches, temperatures will decrease in terms of high temperatures. And by the time we get to Friday, some folks in the 70s for highs across the region as we begin to see that front push further to the south. Now watch the drier air off to the north. You can watch those drier dew point temperatures up here over the northeastern part of the country. In time, that'll make inroads toward our area, and I think especially over the weekend, the drier air takes hold, and so I still think a very good-looking forecast for a lot of the region on Saturday and Sunday with that front off to the southwest of us. Should be a pretty nice weather setup here as the upcoming weekend unfolds. You can see that upper level low pretty clearly here on the European model, centered over areas, I say close to Shreveport, Louisiana, and that just kind of falls apart as it drifts to the south as we head toward the weekend. So let's take it day by day. Here's a snapshot from this afternoon. Then you see our coverage of storms ramping up tomorrow afternoon as that front approaches, and then as that front pushes further to the south, we basically see the zone of shower and storm chances get pressed further to the south along with it. So that's Friday, here is Saturday, and here is Sunday across the region. High pressure eventually taking over. And I wanted to mention this, still in the longer range GFS, we continue to see it try to develop some type of tropical system that moves up toward the Gulf Coast. You get that all the time in the longer range modeling, these little tropical systems that spin up in the extended range in the summer months. And that's certainly far from a certainty, but it is something that the GFS has been fairly insistent upon as we get towards somewhere between the 7th and the 15th of June. So something to at least keep somewhat of an eye on down the road toward the Gulf Coast. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day and God bless.